We're talking about the lockdown, and I have a guest with me to hopefully help me understand how things are going right now. Akbayemi okay, is right, joining me right now. How are you doing, Akbayemi? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Thanks for joining us
Hello,
today. Now,
everybody.
we're talking about the lockdown. Thanks for joining me. A lot of people, like I said, there's two sides to the argument, it seems, these days. Is this the right time to be stopping or opening back the economy, even if it's a phased opening? But at the same time, there's people who say, for how long are we going to be locked down, considering the sort of hit the economy has taken? What's your take so far?
I think you actually captured it by saying, the devil and the deep blue sea. The reality of it is that, I don't think we need a medical expert to tell us that it's not really a good time to decide to open up the economy. If you look at the numbers in terms of the exponential increase that we're seeing in the numbers, just over 200 was discovered yesterday. But we're dealing with a very uncommon situation, and requires uncommon pragmatism in terms of the fact that, for the very first time, we have the economy as well as health, going head to head on an issue. The truth of the matter is that they are both existential issues. Just the same way COVID-19 can kill you, is the same way right now you can die of hunger. And we're looking at a population that has poverty capital of the world aside, most of the people who are even, able to make ends meet, the majority of them right now on a daily wage, just as you have mentioned. So I think the situation calls for an uncommon pragmatism. The reality of it right now is that both issues right now are going to kill people. So, what for me right now, I wouldn't say a blanket statement to say, oh, okay, it is the best time to open up. But we need to approach the issue from a very pragmatic angle to look at how government can look at, how, we can open up the economy as well as retain people's ability to have the consciousness that we're dealing with an epidemic that can also kill them. So for me, I think the interesting thing that I'll be looking forward to is to see how we can decentralize the decision making. At the end of the day, there's going to be different strategies. Let's let the best brains, come up. Let the strategies in Lagos be different from the approach they're taking in Ogun State or in the North. Let's see which approach right now will eventually become the most effective. Then we'll begin to export this best practice. I don't expect a state that has less than about maybe 50 cases that are still in a containable stage right now to absolutely lock down. So maybe they can explore shutting down their interstate borders, or see how people can begin to, open up or interact or do business. Let me use that to do business right now at the state level, within the state level. For states like Lagos that are at that very peak state that we really know right now that the situation is even worse than what we are seeing. We need new ideas, really. There is no one size fits all in this situation. And without a doubt, both of them are existential issues. Both the economy, hunger can kill you just as much as COVID-19 can kill you as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about exploring as many different approaches as possible. But we look at places like Lagos, like you said, Abuja, Ogun State. These are, of course, these were identified as very high risk states, considering the numbers so far. But when you look at what has happened in Kano, right, where there seemed to have been a late response or a delayed response initially, and the numbers have now exploded. And then there's, of course, this mysterious death that we still haven't understood where that is coming from. Considering how a lot of people said, we're locked down for, I think, about 5 weeks in Lagos, 5 to 6 weeks, from the state to the federal government imposed one. We know to an extent the lockdown was kind of partial in most areas, if we're being honest with ourselves. A lot of people were not observing that. People still went about their businesses in certain areas of Lagos. So my question now is about people actually obeying, or sort of understanding the gravity of this. Because the fear is tomorrow we open up the economy, people go back completely to normal. What then happens with the numbers even exploding more?
I think the situation actually reveals the level of disconnect that we have between the people that are leading us as well as the people that are being led. The truth of the matter right now is that I myself, still try to move out a little bit. Lagos, I'm talking to you from Lagos, and you realize that at the end of the day, people do not understand the gravity of the situation that we are facing. Until it happens to their family members, or they can immediately point to somebody that is happening to, they cannot really comprehend. People still say this is this alien, elitist virus, or that is plaguing the world that doesn't come close to them. So we're dealing with a communication issue here, and the media as well has a very critical role. In fact, we're seeing how the level of disconnect we have with the Nigerian elites, or quote unquote, or the class disparity in terms of communication, people being on the same page. So that is a major issue, especially in Kano. I think it's even very, very unfortunate. In fact, I saw I saw a recent communication that came out of Kano where one of the high-ranking members within the state government, said something along the lines of, "Oh, they didn't even want to do a postmortem, or to do, after the death of people, to even find out what killed them, like against the religion. If you have people throwing up issues, things around that, to fling the religion up as, oh, it's against their way of life to find out, or their religion to find out what really killed this particular person, that they just have to accept that it is the will of." Such issues right now goes to show right now that we are in for a very, very serious situation. And without a doubt, we cannot take the blame off from the government. We get from the government of Kano State. Is evidence right now that they are lacking in their ability to be, to be preemptive. Everybody, all of the times it's been happening in Lagos. Kano happens to be the epicenter of the north as well. So I would expect that government who understands where they stand at that regional level right now should have put some things in place, to make sure that if it comes to elections, they know how they communicate, they know how they recruit all of the mosques and the imams. They have structures in place of communicating in those languages if they really have to, if it's of importance to them. So clearly there is a gap there that is I find rather unfortunate, because lives are going to be lost.
If we're being fair, right, this call for opening up of the economy is not necessarily a Nigerian issue anymore. We've seen protests across the United States. Lots of states in America are saying that they're done with this lockdown of a thing. In the UK, parts of Europe, there are people who are saying, how long are we going to go on like this for? They need to get back to working because, economies are crumbling and jobs are being lost. So it's actually not the most sustainable way to go about things, obviously, which is why, we can't necessarily say the Lagos and Nigerian issue is unique. But so I guess the question now is hunger versus the coronavirus. At what point does one supersede the other? Are we there today where the hunger virus has become sort of more important, or should we pay more attention to than the coronavirus?
Absolutely. I was saying something the other day. I think I saw a mentor of mine was giving an interview. I think it was one of the live interviews, and they were talking about the vulnerability spectrum. That how long does it take to making sure that the palliatives. And I asked myself that how many more weeks can I stay at home before I begin to shift on the vulnerability index, where I'll also begin to need rice and all that. How long? So the truth of the matter right now is, if you look at the governments that you mentioned in the West, like the United States or maybe Canada and all that, there are palliatives put in place, and it is not based on, everybody is vulnerable at different levels. So if the US government is giving their citizens $1,200 right now to accommodate, are they the most vulnerable people? Are they the people sleeping on the road that don't have houses? Or we go to Canada where they're getting $2,000. So for us here right now, even those of us who are referred to as maybe emerging middle class, we're like 3 wrong moves away from moving up that vulnerability spectrum. So the truth of the matter right now is that the majority of the Nigerian people, over 70, before now we were being rated at over 87 million of us, living on that $2 a day. So just take 3 weeks income out of that their life and look at the level of hunger in which they are feeling. So this whole thing comes from very frank conversations. We need to be very realistic with ourselves. 3 weeks is enough right now. In fact, 2 days income. So lack of 2 days income right is enough right now for a family to begin to go hungry. So we're way past that benchmark of saying, oh, have we gotten to the place where people are hungry and dying of? Yes, we have.
I want to talk about messaging now. I think messaging has been quite weird for a lot of Nigerians, because we're at a point where 1 minute we're hearing the Minister of Health sort of soliciting for Nigerians to give us buildings or their houses if they have vacant homes, because they were running out of bed spaces for coronavirus patients. When you hear that on one day and then a few minutes later you're hearing about the lockdown being relaxed, why is the messaging hasn't been very consistent from government, has it?
Well, I think I agree with you on that. I think there's a bridge in that communication, and I even think in the first instance, I think the communication even needs to be broken down. Trying to talk to us as an homogeneous entity. I think the minister at that level wants to reach out to. I feel that we should realize that those approach to communication is not effective. We need to decentralize that communication mechanism to reach our people at the closest person to them in terms of what they are doing. So that national approach where the minister feels he wants to just take it up and it is on that platform. There has to be a level of coordination at both local, state, and federal level. But I feel that when it comes to messaging and passing information across to citizens, we need to prioritize that decentralization. That is the only way I feel it is effective. And there are multiples of platforms. Some people right now, at the end of the day, it is only their king. It is only their king right now that they really hear. That's is their ear to the outside world. So, so we need to come to the reality. So this is even going back to the question of how we're structuring, how the country is structured in the first place. So I agree with you that there is a need right now for more coordinated communication.
I want to talk about state governments now, because we talk a lot about the federal government, but in a situation like this, I mean, the state governments have a huge role to play, and an important part of this entire equation. Are you satisfied with what a lot of state governments have done? Are there states that you're kind of worried about going forward?
To be frank with you, just like we've mentioned right now, I am most worried about Kano. I think that what we have going on there right now is a catastrophe. Because lack of information right now is the greatest challenge that we have right now in combating the virus. People don't know if at the level of the state government themselves, they're not able to get their act together in terms of even how they want to communicate or their responses. I think it's a major challenge. Now, on the positive side, I think I am a positive. I think it's worth commending the approach Lagos State government has taken in terms of trying to address this. They're dealing with the worst situation in the country, but I think they're still able to inspire a certain level of confidence with the citizens, despite the fact that they're also dealing with the challenge of poverty and people still needing to, even if we understand what you're saying, we're really hungry and something must give. So I think Lagos State government is worth commending. I think Kwara State government is doing some impressive effort as regards it. I think Ekiti is also not doing bad. But the reality of it right now is that for some states that are still at that level whereby it is still at manageable level, we're still, able to still contain it at this very, very early stage. That proactive or taking the lead in that prevention right now, I think is a very, very important approach if we're going to achieve any success.
Yeah. Now, finally, before we go, tomorrow a lot of people are paranoid. People are worried. There's of course there are people who are just excited that they're going to go back to their daily lives tomorrow. But there are people who are worried about what's going to come tomorrow. What should the average Lagosian, person in Abuja or Ogun State or whatever state that's relaxing the lockdown tomorrow be thinking about as they approach Monday?
I think they have to approach it from the angle of the fact that we are our own government at this stage. In fact, you are just as responsible as your government and your life. The reality of it right now is that the government cannot protect the people who don't think there's a need to protect themselves. So the best approach to this right now is as you're going about your business tomorrow and trying to still see how you can begin to, kickstart your engine again and try to engage this. Have it at the back of your mind right now that you are just one wrong move away from COVID-19. So that kind of consciousness at the back of your mind begins to, affect your behavior in terms of how you relate. No handshakes, as much as possible, let's stay at arm's length to each other. No non-essential movement. If you really have to go out, look at how, you still see places whereby you see people gathered, you just cringe, you just have this thing that just makes you feel like, it's like these people don't know what is going on. So I think that consciousness, that self-consciousness is very, very important if moving forward at this stage.
This message to the people who matter, because whether we like it or not, the majority of Nigerians are poor people. Not everybody has a television who's seeing you, who say what you're saying right now. How do we get the message to them? Because it looks like a lot of them still don't know the gravity of this.
To be frank, that's a major challenge, and I think that the media, like I said earlier, has a significant. But when I say the media, I even want to say everybody who has an influence. If you have an influence over 5 people, if you have a family of 3 or 4, that's your circle of influence. It is important right now. If you have a gateman, some of us have guards, some of us have, who are, so we need to begin that information, that communication at levels at which people understand, and then we need to decentralize the system. I think the civil society has a significant role to also play in terms of the role civil society has played before now as people who live with the people, community-based organization, who understand, who have been programming before now. We've had epidemics, we've had the Ebola, we've had HIV/AIDS, we've had, that had to do that, and that major components of programming for those things had to do with behavioral change. So we need those existing structures in which we've been using to reach the people. We need to reactivate them. I know funding is also another critical issue in terms of making sure that people have the resources to be able to do these things. So I think it's also important right now that government begins to look at how they can help. The truth of the matter right now, the government, even if they fail to accept it, it's obvious that to a certain degree they are also helpless. So this calls for collaboration. It calls for collectivity. It calls for everybody to do their bits.
Thank you very much, Ape, for your kind words. Please stay safe and stay home if you don't have to be out tomorrow. We'll take a break now and be right back. Please don't go away.